Hey guys, my name is Bando. This is Roast Bando. Sorry if I sound a little croaky. I've got a really rough throat at the moment and I'm coughing like crazy. You may have seen this image floating around. Today is one of those days where a limited release was released at Games Workshop and everybody who tried to get it got screwed. So it was the release at the end of the death of Volume 3, the final book in the Horus Heresy series. I have not read any of the End of the Death series. I'm frankly just not bothered by getting a hold of these books. But seeing how some people have these collections, it is a little disheartening, to say the least, when people who are passionate about this cannot buy them. Now, this image you may have seen, pardon me, floating around, it was apparently sent to someone by a scalper. Now, this scalper has used a bot to purchase 11 copies, I think it was said, of the book. Now, I can respect the hustle of purchasing models to resell as an investment. You know, if I had the ability to go back in time before Fantasy was cancelled, I would most definitely pick up a couple of Bretonnian and Tomb King battalion boxes, sit on them until about 2 years ago, and release them on eBay. They were going for a fortune. However, I can't support someone doing this, because this, coupled with GW's limited releases, their terrible website, and frankly their piss poor business tactics, has resulted in just an abuse of the customer base. Pardon me. You have got books here ranging from £300 to £700. Every single one of these can and should be reported to eBay because they do not have these books. Now, if you want to sell models on eBay and you think they are worth X amount of money over the retail cost, that is down to you. I would probably not sell my painted models for retail. If they were unpainted, I'm not charging retail for them, unless they're out of production, sort of thing. You know, someone who wants to sell an out of production Forge World box dreadnought absolutely has the right to sell it for an obscene amount of money because they are no longer produced. But what we've got here is, you know, some justified hatred towards scalpers. I'm not defending scalping, you know. But we also have here, equally, is a consumer base who cannot control themselves. There is no way in God's green earth this man would put up a £700 book if people weren't willing to pay £700. If you spend £700 on a modern-made book that is not an antique, it is not a historical relic, it is not a curio or collector's piece, beyond the fact that the company making it has told you it's a collector's piece, you are an idiot with too much money. This book is worth £50 tops. You know, because that's what Games Workshop's told you it's worth. If you spend £700 on it, you deserve everything you get. There is a reason that if you join certain investment groups in the UK, they will talk about buying Games Workshop products as an investment. These are people who are not gamers, they are not collectors, they're not hobbyists. These are guys who are 20s, 30s, 40s, with lots of money, who are looking to invest that capital to maximise their return. They don't care if they're investing in Raytheon, in Nestle, they don't care if they're buying stock in, you know, Sage, or anything else. They are looking for a return on investment. So when someone tells them, hey, go and buy 11 copies of this book for £550, because you can throw every single one of them up there for £700 and people will pay for it. That is an incredible return on investment, pound for pound. I mean, that is top tier return on investment. You know, you hear about people making millions of pounds in investments. This is how you do it. You know, any buying shares in Google and, you know, Nvidia and all these other companies, you wish they gave you a return of investment like that. You know, £650 basically of effective pure profit. You know, so you sell one of these, you've covered the cost of every single one you've bought. Which, incidentally, is what someone at my local games club does. He did it with the 8th edition starter set. He bought enough copies and split them out that his copy was paid for. So he got it for free. You know, all it cost him was time, basically. So if you as a community, as you as a collector want this to stop, you have to do two things. And it really is only two things. One, you just stop buying these things. If you stop paying £299 to £700 for this book, or you stop buying stuff online that scalpers are putting out there, and you just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do without, I missed out on this one, what a pity. It will not take long, pardon me, for these people to stop doing it. Because it happened. It happened with the Bretonnian release. Because I've seen a lot of people trying to shift old 20-year-old Bretonnian models just before the release of the new Bretonnian release. And they couldn't do it. Because people weren't willing to pay 2 or 3 times what GW was about to charge them. Now, of course, GW dropped the ball and they basically really uplisted a lot of them to eBay. And they've all sold now anyway. But that's part of the problem. The second thing you need to do is you need to tell Games Workshop that this is totally unacceptable. Now, they don't care, because they make 1,000 of this book, 2,500. They do not want one of those books sat on the shelves. They don't care if it goes to you. They don't care if it goes to a cancer-ridden collector who's been in the hobby since 1980, who was the first guy, stood outside that shop the day it opened, and he has bought every single model they've ever produced. He has loved Games Workshop with all his passion, and reading this book is literally the last thing he wants to do. He's holding on for dear life just to get a hold of this book to complete his collection. They don't give a shit. They don't care if it goes to him. They just want it out the door. So you tell them, hi, Games Workshop, I like your products. I'm now refusing to buy any of your limited edition boxes, your limited edition releases, because of the constant and unaddressed problem with scalpers. I will not purchase from your website anymore. Completely. Just tell them, I will not, you are not looking after your community. I'm not willing to be part of that community anymore. And they'll look at it and go, yeah, well, we don't care. You won't come back. You'll come back because you're an addict. Because you are. We all are. And if enough people do that, if enough people stop buying, and honestly, you just need to stop consuming, you don't have to do it for long. And to put it in perspective, okay, I don't want people to think that, the reason they're not doing this is because it's difficult or anything. It's not. The ability to stop scalpers is really easy. Okay? You can buy commercially made anti-scalping software that will plug into your web store. In fact, the web store they use probably already has an add-in available, and it will be a really low cost. It will probably either be a one-off cost or it will be a percentage of the sales. And what will happen is it plugs into your store, and you can configure it. You can tell it to say, hey, limit this to X number of purchases per person. And you can quantify what a person is. You can say, hey, the IP address it's coming from. You can tell it that the delivery address it's going to, the PayPal account or credit card or debit card that we used to pay for it. All of these things. Because, maybe you don't want people in the same building to not be able to get it. So you take the same address off, because that's, people live in apartments, that sort of thing. You have housemates. So you limit it to IPs or credit cards, and PayPal. And all that happens is you tick a button to enable it for this item. And when someone tries to purchase this thing, and they go, oh, we'll get 11 of them, let's go. And they click buy 11, it comes up and goes, unfortunately, the maximum for you is 1, because we've detected that you're trying to buy more than 1. And he goes, well, I'll use my bot. And all the bot does is it does the same thing you do when trying to purchase, just 1,000 times faster. And it just goes, buy. And each time it pops up and goes, yeah, sorry, mate, same address, same payment method, same whatever, same name. You can't have this. And it's denied. The other thing is you can enable capture, which is the image thing that's like, I'm not a robot, which is where you're training robots to be smarter. And it's like, hey, how many of these images have got a bicycle in it? And the AI goes, what's a bicycle? So that's another way to stop it. Now, someone at GW doesn't want that because they, like I said, they want these just out the door, right? The amount of people who want this, it doesn't matter. If you limited it to one a person and said, hey, one person, one address, one payment method, whatever, they'd still sell out. There's 2,500 copies of this book. At the time of this, I think that the 40k Reddit board has like 350,000 members. Okay, the 30k board alone has like 50 or 60,000 members. You have more than enough people trying to buy this. And from what I have seen all morning across Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, not a single person who I've spoken to has managed to get their hands on this. The only hobbyist I have been able to confirm who's got a copy of this is Valrak. And that's because he gets his bought for him by someone in a time zone that doesn't sell out, and he ships it over to them. Which I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's a brilliant idea. If you've managed to get a hold of a copy of this, please tell me. But from what I have seen, no one has managed to get a hold of this other than scalpers. Now, that's not true. I'm sure there are people who've got their hands on them, but what I'm saying is the numbers are definitely not in our favour. So, we need to address this as a community. We have to tell Games Workshop that this is not enough, or this is not good enough, but we also have to tell ourselves this is not good enough. If you find out your friend paid £700 for this book, that's not okay. You need to help them. That is a serious problem. And, even if someone is making millions of pounds a year in their job, and you're just like, it's their money, they can do what they want with it, you're absolutely right. But it is not healthy for the community for them to do that. Because eventually, if enough people start doing this, right, this happens on a regular enough basis, someone at GW is going to go, why are we charging only £50 for this book? Let's charge £100 for this book. And then the regular edition goes up to 50. Why? Well, the cost of the book being produced hasn't increased, but they've just realised that they can just sell more to less people. And if whales become the norm, you will slowly price out, even faster than normal, the average collector. Okay? If GW thinks, hey, actually, £299, people are willing to buy that, why do we not just sell it at that price anyway? Do you know how much they'll go for on eBay? Add a 0 to the end. You ready to pay £1,000 to £3,000 for a book? No. But someone will have enough disposable income to do it. And then that cycle will continue. This is what happens. This does happen in industries quite regularly. This is why... So a friend of mine, he restores Land Rovers. Land Rover Defenders. They're a terrible car, but for some reason collectors love them. And he has had people purchase them for 165,000 before. Why? Because they've got the money to do it, and they think it's a luxury item, and because other people are willing to pay that sort of money. So it just continues. So the next person sees it and goes, oh, I'll do it for, 150,000, and they try to sell it for that money. And then someone else sees it at that price and they're going to go buy it for that price. And it just gets ridiculous. It's not worth it. I can tell you, the amount of swearing I hear when he's trying to fix these things, it's not worth it. So yeah, we need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to hold the scalpers accountable. We can report every single one of these. In fact, that's what I plan to do after this video, is go through every single one of these listings and report it for not having the item in hand, because that's against eBay's terms of service. If we make it difficult for them, they will find this somewhere else. They'll do it somewhere else. They'll go and buy limited edition games, that sort of thing. That's another popular one to do. I was never going to purchase this book. I have no skin in this race, other than the fact that it annoys me that our community is in pain because of this. We are suffering. You see people on Facebook groups, the moment this comes out, I'm trying to find a copy of this, I missed out, it's the last one I need. We shouldn't have to resort to that. So come on, guys. Tell GW this isn't acceptable. Tell your friends it's not acceptable, especially if they are the ones that are buying these. Think about how much stuff you could buy for £650 if you bought that book at GW prices. That's an entire army for basically every system they do, or at least the starter army for nigh on every system they do. £650, that could be your entire hobby budget for the year. Maybe I'm just being old and crotchety and being a boomer. If so, tell me so. If you guys agree with me, let me know. Let me know. Did you manage to get hold of a copy of this? Did you even bother trying? What's the worst you've ever seen for one of these? Would you pay for this? I don't know. All I can say is this feels wrong to me, and it feels wrong that GW allows this when it is so easy to stop it. So my name is Bando. This is my salty negative video because the algorithm demands it. I'm sure the whatever they call it, thumbnail will be equally clickbaity because that's what the algorithm demands. This is Breakfast with Bando. Someone please come and save me from Twitter, because I'm going to get banned from Twitter and Reddit one of these days, because I have been on a roll. Alright guys, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye.